What's up, guys? After entirely too long, we're finally getting around to this. This is going to be a review of the Vortex and kind of a heads up to some of you guys that may not know that are looking into getting into Magfed that this is a legitimate option. So let's check it out. Okay, so first off, I just want to start on MCS's website, and these are out of stock right now. Sadly, they go in and out of stock like crazy, so you might just have to wish list it and wait for it to come back in stock. But for 120 bucks, if you have a Tippman A5, in my case, this was a full auto Tippman A5 with the response trigger. For 120 bucks, it comes with basically a whole new receiver and one magazine. They do have a bundle kit that sometimes when one's in stock, the other's not. But there is a bundle kit that you can get more magazines, but you can just order magazines separate. But 120 bucks, it's going to come with all of your required parts. Basically, you're going to move this and your airline and all of the internals into your new part that it comes with. One thing I will say is it is very heavy. This new piece is much heavier than the one that is originally on the A5, so keep that in mind. If you want a very light marker, this is not going to be a good option for you. But if you just want to try out Magfed for not a ton of money, 120 bucks, it's a no-brainer. It's going to come with your mag well. Basically, you're going to take all your guts, stick it in here, put your grip assembly back on, and you're good to go. Full auto also. This one is full auto, and it works perfectly fine in full auto. I haven't had any issues with it. And here, it's going to take all of this exact same A5 furniture that a typical A5 does. Mine has this setup here with a Magpul front grip, but it's got the Weaver top thing, which is basically just a clamp. It just kind of bolts onto the sides. It doesn't actually attach to anything. And then, you know, the AK barrel assembly. As far as pros for what this is, let me go ahead and get off this. Basically, I just want to show you this. 120 bucks, you're going to get your upper, you're going to get your magazine, your magwell, stick all your guts in there, you're good to go. 120 bucks, no brainer in my opinion. But that being said, let's talk about some of your pros and your cons as to why you might want to do this. Again, if you have an A5 sitting in the closet from when you played a long time ago, or if you just have one to have one, like I happen to have one, 120 bucks is the cheapest option that you can go with to get into Magfed. There's no other cheaper full-size marker that you can get for 120 bucks. And it works perfectly fine. I haven't had any chops, no breaks, no nothing at all wrong with it. It's fired every shot that I've had. If you want to see gameplay, you can check somewhere up there. I went out, took it, played with it for a while, just so I could actually give my thoughts properly after having used it. And I didn't have any issues with it. There's one part in that video I was having an error issue. It was a user error. I don't play with the remote very often, so I'm not super used to using them. I thought I'd check to make sure that it was on, but my wrist had, checked it off. So, user error, don't mind that. That had nothing to do with the marker itself. Full auto also. If your A5 is already full auto, 120 bucks, you have a full auto Magfed gun. You can get a box mag, stick it on this, and be laying down paint like no other Magfed gun, period. Some of the downsides, I will say, is this is just the generic barrel that comes with this kit. Doesn't seem great. Also, the air consistency as far as like your FPS goes, I was getting pretty big variations in my feet per second. I don't know if that is just due to my specific setup. I don't know if that's a history with A5s. I don't have a big history with A5s, so I couldn't tell you. This thing does need to be cleaned, so that could have something to do with it. I haven't cleaned it once since I've had it, so that could very well have something to do with it. I don't know. But again, it was well enough to play with, and it just had more variances in accuracy than I would want. But again, we're talking to get into Magfed, because a lot of people don't know that these things exist. They don't know that they can take a tippman, a 98, an A5, basically any tippman family marker, and convert it to Magfed. They don't know it exists. So trying to just get the word out on these, because they're really, really good for what it is. So the accuracy in the air, not the end of the world. Also, if you don't want to run a remote line, MCS makes a air kit that will reroute your air to the back, and you could run an air through stock just like any other Magfed gun. I don't have it. I don't really want to put the money into it to get one to test it for this, because I'm fine just running a remote line. I don't have any issues with that. But if that's a deal breaker for you, you can get an air through stock down the road, and you can just upgrade that later if you decide you want to stick with this or get something else. So the airline can be fixed, no big deal. I think that covers the actual gun itself. One thing I was skeptical about were the Helix mags, based on the experiences that we had with the D mags. I wasn't super optimistic on the Helix mags. Surprisingly, 0 issues whatsoever with these things. I was basically chucking them at the ground, reloading. I've tried to be more brutal with magazines lately, not just because, but in quickness sake, and then I'll just pick them up later. And I didn't have any issues. I've dropped these in here on hard concrete floor, no problems whatsoever. I didn't have any, release accidentally. I had none fall out. So Helix mags were super surprising. The only thing that people don't like, and it is a downside, are these loading rods. And you can see I've already had to fix this before I even took it to the field, and I'd only loaded a handful of magazines. I ended up fixing it with a guitar string. I just rounded out the edge and then fed the guitar string backwards and wrapped it around a like a bungee thing, and that's fine. But this wasn't as much of a pain to deal with as I thought it might, having to feed these in. I did leave mine looser on accident. It's just the way it happens. But the loading rod could be a deal breaker. I don't think it's that big a deal. I mean, it's not much slower than just sticking an Allen key in and winding up the other ones. So the Helix mags, actually a pleasant surprise for what it is. And they load. I find loading kind of like an AK, because your mag release is a paddle. But it's also easier to make sure it's secured when you put it in, because it doesn't have the greatest insert feeling. It does loosen up a little bit, but kind of just giving it a tug back. So I was kind of putting them in and rocking it back slightly. I didn't have any issues. So I think that about covers it. More pros than cons. The cons are fixable if they're cons for you. Some of the cons might be me specifically, but honestly, I was incredibly surprised with how good this was. And also, if you want an AK family marker, I've heard the hardstyle AK is going to be in the 15 range, which I hope to God is not the case. I hope it actually comes out. But, if you want an AK family marker, this might be it for you. It is heavy. It's definitely one of the heavier things. It has nothing on the SAR 12, but it's definitely heavy. It makes my T15 feel kind of light. But this is a good option. Honestly, you can upgrade the barrel. The barrel is free float from the handguard, if you can see that. So you just basically mount your front sight onto the barrel, which might cause problems. The barrel that comes in the kit does have a threaded tip, so you could put other things on there. I just prefer the normal AK look. This handguard kit is supposed to take other AK handguards, so again, if you want an AK, this might be a perfect option for you, the Vortex specifically. But again, any tippman family marker you can convert to Magfed, and there's not going to be any problems whatsoever. This takes full auto, so I have a backup full auto marker that takes basically T15 mag sizes, so I don't have to change my kit at all. And this is good to go. 120 bucks, convert your tippman to Magfed. If you're thinking about trying it, look it up, MCS. I'll put a link to this kit specifically in the description, even though it's out of stock if you just want to check it out. That's going to be it for this one, though. If this was helpful to you, like the video, leave a comment, please. If you have experiences with these, leave them in the comments also so people can check it out. That's going to be it. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks, guys.
The power of the dark side.